Alrighty then, welcome back, and we've got even more Helldivers on tap for today, as the fact that it's the weekend doesn't mean the galactic war is placed on pause. We've also got another hacker sighting. The DSS is doing all that it does. Johan's responding to some of your suggestions and issues noticed in the game, and we also need to check in on the current Illuminate campaign. It's going to be a rapid fire round for sure, including some of your comments from last video. By the way, if you'd like to support the channel, please hit subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss one of my future upload alerts. And let's hit those pods and dive into all the latest from Helldivers. Starting off today is a series of comments from my last video where I had uploaded a very quick update on the Democracy Space Station and the fact that it had reappeared, and some of you noticed the editing wasn't completely spot on. I had some repeats in the vocal track, and even though I had something like 20 minutes to process that video, get it done and uploaded, again, it still wasn't up to par, and here's what some of you had to say. You didn't edit the first track out. I mean, if you're a lone dude with no editors, it bugs me a lot less. Was just thinking the same, so I came to the comments to see if anyone else felt the same. He does it again towards the end. Must be a lone dude editing himself. To which I responded, everything from the gameplay to the thumbs is me. Be gentle. Now, I've mentioned this in the past, but everything again you see here on the channel is 1000% me. From the background gameplay footage, to the editing, to the thumbnails, even to the vocals, which I happen to fit in between my IRL full-time job duties, family, dad duty, and the rest of it. Now, sometimes I'm going to make mistakes. There's a lot going on when you dive into content creation, but at least now you know what's going on behind the scenes, and you know, maybe one of these days I can actually bring on and afford a full-time editor, but to be honest, I'm not there yet. Also, I've been polling the community about their favorite armor passives, and round 3 went live last night. Link to be found down in the video description and pinned comments to this one, as we've got Engineering Kit and Med Kit both back from their previous 2 rounds of victories, this time going up against Scout and Peak Physique. Now, between rounds 1 and 2, we saw over 41,000 votes, which is freaking insane. And let's see if we can break 23,000 votes on this go-around, as round 3 is now live. Okay, let's switch gears and have a little fun before we dive into some more Helldivers news. And we've all had a mission where everything has gone south at Extraction, right? We've had squad mates that are dying left, right, and center, spawns and patrols coming from every direction. It's literally the worst parts of Starship Troopers happening right before our eyes, with a single diver making it out alive to actually complete the mission, only to get let down when we arrive back up on the Super Destroyer by one of those officers. And this Reddit post perfectly nails what we're all thinking the moment it happens. Right when the NPC says, "Good job," aside from the below average sample collection. And I love this Reddit post. Here's how it begins. The player starts off, "Let me tell you something." And then they just lay into this Super Destroyer officer. There weren't any samples, all right? Even if there were, I had to fight through 700 bugs that spit flesh-eating acid and have swords for arms. I just saw a dozen of my comrades get ripped apart, and one get his head blown off by Pelican 1's cannon, all while dodging fire tornadoes before barely making extract. This is my 10th mission. I'm still alive, but I can hear their screams in my head. I will throw you into the next pod to Hellmire if you mention samples again. Also, this destroyer is fully upgraded. Shut up. I mean, yeah, this is absolutely brilliant. And I think we can all relate, right? We've literally been through hell. Just one of us makes it back alive, and Debbie Downer here on the Super Destroyer hits us with the fact that we didn't bring back enough samples. Switching gears, and next up is the Illuminate Major Order, which happens to be just as comedic as that last Reddit post, and this thing's going sideways in a hurry. On one hand, we are taking on the squid, and we seem to love that, but there seems to be a huge disconnect between how long they are staying planetside and our ability to finish off their campaigns. Now, here's how it stands as of last night. We have 3 of the required 14 successful defenses against the Illuminate with just under 4 days time to get it done. So we are behind, and behind by quite a bit. And it's not like we have low player counts or anything, because we saw nearly 70,000 players last night when I recorded this footage. Throw into the mix the newly improved and still not quite there DSS, which seems to come online and ready to warp towards the end of an Illuminate invasion, and with only minutes left on its current effects before it goes back on cooldown. And just to recap, the orbital barrage was somewhat corrected, even though I've read that a lot of you would prefer to be able to vote on and select the orbitals for use in mission. But when the orbital blockade timer is running while the Democracy space station is hovering over a liberation planet, and then it warps to an Illuminate planet with something like 20 minutes left on the blockade timer, it just seems to be all off to me and out of sync, if that makes sense. Let me know if you're still participating in the DSS mechanics. Drop me a comment. Are you donating the materials? Are you even voting? Feedback is appreciated, because we've heard from the developers in the past that they watch these videos and they read your comments. Speaking of developers, we've had 3 Arrowhead devs recently answering questions, including Johan, but the first discussion I want to take a look at has to do with the Sony and PSN requirements for Steam players, and I reported on this one a few days ago when I discussed Lost Soul Aside, an upcoming PlayStation game to be released later this year that had originally shown the PSN requirements tag on its Steam page, only to then remove it, creating quite a buzz within the PC community, hoping what this could mean for other PlayStation titles like Helldivers 2. Now, over in the Helldivers Discord, this very question was asked of Baskinator, who responded simply with this: "I have no idea. Anything to do with that conversation is pretty high above me." Now, I'm going to continue to hunt for anything to do with Sony, the region locks, and more, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any of my follow-up reports on this matter. But I've got all my fingers and toes crossed to bring some good juju for everyone out there that is currently blocked out of purchasing and playing Helldivers. Players have also started to get a bit antsy, wanting to get their hands on the next new Warbond, even asking about Arrowhead's monthly delivery schedules, to which B Vitamin responded, "We haven't done a monthly schedule for a long time. I want to say since Freedom's Flame," which, by the way, I looked up, and that date was August the 8th. Now, as far as I remember, and I do try to stay up to date on the latest Helldivers news, the devs had discussed delivery timeframes in past discussions and how they would be extending those out in the future and not committing to exact dates, as it caused them to rush and the quality of the content was then compromised. If anything, I would guess our next Warbond would be coming early next month when the game celebrates its 1-year anniversary. But, you know, again, that would be a good question for chat. Am I right in remembering that dev discussion? And when do you think the next Warbond will drop? We've also seen Johan, the game's creative director, responding on Reddit to some of your community posts, including this one, which was an awesome proposal for rearming vehicles, in which we would carry these 2 heavy resupply boxes to our vehicles to restock their ammo. Johan's response: "Good idea." Now, I don't know if that means he likes it and that's the end of it, or good idea as in, you know what, we're going to get started on that for Monday. But rearming vehicles has been a comment I have seen mentioned what seems like 1,000 times or more. You divers really want this. There was also a discussion about the hot community topic of the minigun stratagem and this concept artwork, as Johan went back into the Helldivers archives discussing fire rates of the AK-5, M240, and M249, saying that the point of the minigun is to not have to change barrels. Again, I've seen the minigun pop up repeatedly, both in my comment sections and over on Reddit, and a lot of you really want to see this added into the game outside of using a mech to get it. And finally, the persistent PlayStation 5 audio chat issue is still popping up nearly a year later. Listen to this one. "I've changed the audio to headset on PS5, even tried turning to TV audio and back, and set the audio in the game to prioritize headset, but chat still comes through the TV. It's not my headset since I was playing with a friend in Discord just fine. Edit. For anyone just finding this, I've just been lowering the music and sound effects volume in the game menu and playing all the audio through the headset. You don't have to do this in Discord or PlayStation chat, however." Johan is on the scene for this one and answered, let me send this over to the team. which is good to see, and maybe they can get this one knocked out, especially, again, since it seems to be nearly a year-old issue. By the way, if you are on PlayStation 5, how do you have your headset and audio set up? Maybe we can get a lot of responses and possibly some workarounds showing up down in chat concerning this audio misbehaving. I know it's been a while, but anything can help. For the time being, let's stick with that theme of misbehaving. And one of the known issues with the Illuminate spawn ships is that grenades can't seem to inflict any damage when thrown up against one of the sets of doors, to which Alex Bowl, a developer at Arrowhead, actually responded with this, quote, "We have fixed this issue for the next update, coming soon, can't say too much about the date. Thanks for bumping this one, it's been a PITA indeed." Also, we've seen yet another one of these videos pop up over on Reddit of what looks to be a super credit hacker who has gotten a hold of Mommy's Helldivers credit card and is boosting credits at what looks to be an insane rate. Now, for those of you who have never seen them because they are super rare, you will sometimes be able to actually find one of these Helldiver credit cards found on the map, and it says a Helldiver as the name on the card, although you can't pick them up. I reached out to noted Helldivers game file guru Iron Sights for some help on this one, who told me the servers do a great job limiting how much super credits you can actually spawn in. I mean, they do have protections set up and in place, and if this hacker was able to spawn in a credit card and repeatedly pick it up, the amounts of super credits gained would not be mind-blowing. Still, if you happen to drop into a match and you see this going on, I think it best to just drop out of that round or risk getting caught up in a potential report or perhaps even a permaban. Let's wrap up this roundup with two final community mentions, and these are both interesting and funny. The first having to do with the game's cinematic intro, which I think we're all familiar with at this point, with super citizen Craig Lee Thomas getting out of his car and promptly seeing his family mobbed by a Terminid, prompting this post in question: "I want to know where these two guys were when Bugs ripped his family to shreds literal seconds later." And yeah, that's an excellent question. And finally, how many of you knew about this one? Because I certainly did not. It says the Legionnaire armor has these cute little Helldiver skulls on the bottom of their boots. And you know what? Now I'm going to purposely dive when no enemies are around me and check the boots on every armor set I wear into battle. But here's a question for chat. What other hidden details have you found, like emblems or, something else unique and cool? Drop us all a comment and enlighten the community on some of the finer details this game hides away. Okay, there you go. All the latest from Helldivers. Thanks for tuning in. Now, for this week, I'm personally looking forward to possibly another patch, because we need it. Maybe some hints as to what's coming soon to the game. Maybe even one of those developer mini vlogs where they tease greater improvements planned for the far future. I mean, who knows? Make sure to leave me some feedback, and I will, of course, do my best to respond. And you've already got some topics to respond about. Remember to hit subscribe and to ring the notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. All my socials, including links to today's sources, can be found in the video description. Please take a second to cast your vote in the Armor Passive Showdown, found in the community portion of my channel, and links found below. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.